Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Everquest Old School. And on tonight's episode, we are over here at the Bandit camp inside Western Karanas. And we actually came over here with the group that we were just in over in Blackborough. But because we kind of pulled a little bit more than we should have, we got a pretty nasty death there, and then we had a pretty nasty corpse retrieval. But the group stuck together, and we decided that we'd come over here and try out the Bandit camp. Because with this many people, it really is kind of nice to have more mobs to pull from with less worry of other people aggroing, trains on you and other people coming in and trying to steal you. And so we wanted to come over here. Plus, Thoom here was actually telling me that the red sashes that drop off of these creatures are for a quest. Is that right?
That is correct. You can turn them in somewhere in keynotes, and they give you faction, and I believe they give you experience.
Now, you're playing your warrior. What level are you?
I'm almost level 12. One yellow bubble away from level 12.
And I'm playing my shaman, who's level 11, and I am too, just a little bit more than one bubble away from level 12. So this is the bandit sash that I was talking about right here, guys. And why I am full power, I am going to go ahead and buff up our tank with Spirit of the Bear. I'll go ahead and cast my dexterity spell on him. And I think he has Spirit of the Wolf. Do you have Spirit of the Wolf on you?
I do not.
Well, okay, I'll get you with Spirit of the Wolf here in a second. As far as my Inner Fire, I'm going to avoid casting that one because we do have a Cleric on us, and we actually have a rather high-level Druid kind of roaming around. So every once in a while, he is casting that on our group. You just never quite know, and I don't really want to waste the power to find out if somebody has it on them or not. Especially with the Cleric here, they're going to handle that. So I am going to make sure that everybody has Spirit of the Wolf. See, there he is right there. There's the high-level Druid just kind of sitting there hanging out. Let's see, Cleric could probably use Spirit of the Wolf. And then I will cast Spirit of the Wolf on myself, just so if anything goes bad, I can still have a chance at running away and reaching the zone line. It's really not that difficult to get here. If you guys want to know how to do that, you can watch the previous episode where me and Thoom both run here with the group and show you how to get here. Now, the camp right in front of us is where the bandits spawn, and I believe it's like a 5 to 6 minute timer on that. But if you come down here in this little gully, right there between those trees, you'll see another set that spawned down there as well. So we're actually getting 2 camps here. It's a really good experience, and of course having the chance at getting those little sashes is also pretty good as well. The only downside that I've seen to the sashes is they're not stackable. So at some point, you're going to completely fill up on that. Whereas if you stayed over inside Blackborough and got the Knoll Fangs, they are stackable. You'd be able to get a whole lot more of these Fangs than you would be able to get sashes. Do you remember how much experience you get from the sashes? Is it worth it?
No, it's been a long time, man. It's been since at least 2004 since I've gotten any of the sashes. So I really, truly don't remember.
But chances are you're going to get more experience from it because the mobs we're killing are higher level than the gnolls that we were killing earlier. And that's usually how it works. If the mob is higher level, the reward that you get off of the item from turning it in from that mob will also be higher level to boot. Because it understands that, for the most part, unless you're being power level, there's really no way you're ever going to get that item unless you can kill that creature. And if you can kill that creature, they need to give you experience that makes it worth it. Otherwise, why would you ever go take the time to turn in? You just leave those items rotting there and continue to make experience off of those creatures.
Bro, he's asking you if you got heals while he goes AFK a second. Vertago.
Oh, okay. Let's say yes. Holy crap. I'm trying to type in the dark, guys. Horrible. So I am going to go over and take over the healing job. I was trying to get everybody buffed up. Didn't quite get there. I am, every once in a while, taking over for the Cleric, which kind of sucks. If you're a Cleric and you have a Shaman in your group, if you can allow them to do their job, which is to buff everybody up, you're going to find your job is a little bit easier as well. Because the more buffs that people have on them, usually the less damage they take and the more damage they deal. And the faster they deal it. So it's up to you if you want them to be a backup healer. But in the case of a Shaman, I would say their power is probably better used either buffing or dotting, slowing the target, doing a whole lot of other things other than healing. When it comes to a Druid, on the other hand, if they're going to be in a group, pretty much the only thing you want a druid for in a group is healing. Their damage spells are rather nice, but they're not fantastic compared to, say, a wizard or a necro. And so if you're going to have one of them in your group, you might as well, you know, have them healing. That's just my take on it. Everybody has their own opinions on it. But I know a lot of druids. In fact, Thum was actually telling me back in the day when he played one, he wouldn't stay in a group if they wanted him to heal. He would just leave because that was not something he wanted to do. Is that something they usually asked you, though? I mean, how often? For me, it was every time. Every time a druid joined, they were always the healer. But in your situation,
well, I remember soloing a lot with my druid. But yeah, there was many times where I was asked to heal as a druid, and I just refused to do it because you know, I was always like at least 9 levels below the cleric with a decent heal, and it was just not something I wanted to do. I mean, I didn't have any fun. I felt like I was much better at DPS with my druid than I was at you know, at healing, and I was better at DPS. I had great dots. I had decent direct damage, so you know, I felt like I was wasted as a healer, so I just refused to do it. I mean, I did it in my 20s and in my early 30s, but after that it just was so slow, and so I was out of mana so much that it was a waste of my time, I felt.
and it's the kind of the same feeling a lot of mages have when they tell them not to have a pet, is they're like, I can do so much more damage with it than without it. But you kind of have to understand that the needs of the group is what they're concentrating on, and if you don't have a healer at all, then even the small amount of healing that a druid can do, whether he's out of power every 5 seconds or not, is better than nothing. And so, like I said, there's just some people that don't want to play their class a little differently, and that's perfectly fine. Just be prepared for groups saying, okay, well, then we're going to find somebody that will, and they kind of kick you out, or you can leave it yourself. But either way, you're not going to be able to stay in that group if you refuse.
I didn't mind that. I mean, my druid was such a good soloer. If I did... Actually, I would usually leave the group. I never got kicked out. As soon as they asked me to start healing, I would just like, sorry guys, not interested, and I would take off because, you know, I can quad cat. I can kill 4 mobs at once, and so I didn't really need a group. But every once in a while, it's, you know, like the AC Gamer said on many occasions, it's nice to have a group. It's nice to be a part of something. You know, it's nice not to have to solo all the time. So, you know, I can see that point of view. But with my druid, it just wasn't something that interested me. Plus, I had 2 friends, and we had high-level druids. So, and most of the time, we would all group together as 3-level druids, and we would destroy anything in the zone almost.
And that's perfectly fine. I mean, there's no right or wrong play or way to play your class if you are perfectly fine playing it by yourself, you know. And that's one of the things is a lot of people don't. They want to have their cake and they want to eat it too. Like, they want to be in groups, but they want to be in groups on their own terms, and it's not that way. If you're going to be in a group, you need to play ball with what the group needs at that specific moment. And it's not just, you know, druids and mages that have to deal with that. A lot of the time, even as a cleric, you're a main healer. Yeah, that's like 90% of your job. But occasionally, you would join a group, and there'd already be a cleric there that was higher level than you, and they want you to do direct damage to the undead. Some clerics don't want to do that. All they wanted to do was heal. That's all they're really good at, and that's all they wanted to do. But if you were going to be that way and see, like, no, this is what I'm doing, and I'm not changing my mind about it, then okay, then find another group, basically. So you got to be prepared. You know, why are you out of range? Where are you?
Me, I'm over here looking for mob support.
Oh, okay. I was gonna give you some buffs, but you keep running out of range.
I'm trying to pull, dude. I really shouldn't, dude, because I think the enchanter said he's pulling and stuff like that, and I don't want to step on his toes. But I'm having fun, so.
Well, I think they said once the camps were broken, that it would just be, you know, anybody wanted to pull, they could pull. Because the enchanter did break this area for us. It's pretty rare to find an enchanter who knows a area well enough to actually volunteer to do that, which is what he did right off the bat. I mean, he just like, you want me to pull? And then he went over there and he broke the camp. So that's pretty nice that he's very, you know, knowledgeable on the surrounding areas. Experience loot at Quanos quest. Oh yeah, for the sashes.
Is nobody looting them?
I am. I've been looting them all over the place. I've been feeling kind of guilty that I have been, but maybe now. I guess it wouldn't be useful to me anyways. Oh yeah, because he's evil.
Yeah, you can't go into Karanas.
Let me go ahead and loot up the rest of these things before they rot. Some pretty decent gear on these things, though.
Yeah, if you see any big bronze armor, I would love to have some bronze, man. I don't know if they drop bronze, but if they do, I would like to have some.
I know they drop bronze weapons. I haven't seen. Wow, they're just leaving these sashes on here. Like
I
somebody.
left one on there.
Why?
Just because I didn't know if it was my rotation or not.
I've just looted like 7 of them, so I'm guessing nobody wants them.
Good, you split them with me later. Actually, you can just turn them in. We got to find out where to turn them in, though.
Let's see, how many do I have? So I got at least 5 of them.
Okay, ask them if we're doing a rotation on the sashes, because I don't want to loot them if other people want them.
No, I don't think we're doing a rotation. Like I said, I've already looted 6 of them and nobody said anything. Been a couple people who have asked if they're used for anything, but beyond that, you know, nothing. So I would say just go ahead and loot. If anybody says anything, much better than BB in my opinion. Oh, Black Burrow. I don't know. Is this better than Black Burrow in your opinion?
Let's see. Yeah, a little bit. I can see my experience bar moving. We were killing so many greens over there where we were at that my experience bar was moving very slow. So, but we were also fighting. There were also some yellow and some red mobs over there. But the brigands over here are red to me too. So
and they're easier to kill. Like they have less hit points, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, we could have gone further down into Black Burrow and gotten some higher level creatures. I think he just prefers this place out here a little bit more because it is a little bit more user friendly in the sense that if you get in trouble, you can run them around in a circle if you have Fast Enough So or Spirit of the Wolf, and they are, you know, slowed down by, say, your Enchanter. You can just run them around in a circle until your guys kill off one of them, then pull off another one off of him while the guy continues to run around in the circle, allowing you to have that room to do that. In Black Burrow, you don't have that room. If you move too far out of your room, you're going to get attacked by, you know, another set of mobs. You move a little further down that path, you get attacked by another set of mobs, and you'll just cause this, you know, domino effect of a train onto your own group, and everybody's going to die and get wiped. So you do have a little bit more freedom out here. To me, I tend to enjoy dungeons a little bit more because that's what I'm used to. That's what I'm accustomed to being in. And you do get an experience bonus for being in dungeons. So it's just kind of one of those things you got to figure out. Do you get more experience from certain mobs than the other ones? And the answer is sometimes yes, that you will get more experience outside of a dungeon than you will inside of a dungeon. Not very often, but sometimes that is the case. And at lower levels, you know, some people just like to go to different zones. And you can see that the people we're with, a Dark Elf, an Ogre, what's the other guy? We got a Wood Elf there, and a High Elf over here, and an Erudite over here. I mean, yeah, they're from all over, you know, Norath. None of these guys, other than me and Thune, actually started over here. They had to travel a great distance to get here. And one of the things that some people who are coming over from like Everquest Live may not know about Classic Everquest is that you can't get a teleport to Surefall Glades. That's the closest zone to where we're at, is Surefall Glades. And that's something they added later on. So the closest zone you can get a teleport to is Western Karanas with a wizard. If you're going to use Druid teleports, the closest you can get is North Karanas, which is even further away and even more dangerous. So yeah, it's not something you really will do at a low level, because first you got to be able to afford that teleport to Western Karanas or North Karanas, whichever one you want to go to, and then you have to know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going to die, and when you die, it's going to suck really bad.
Watch Wuchi. His charm broke. He's getting pummeled.
Let's see if I can get back to him. Here he comes. Let me go ahead and toss him a heal. Well, I didn't do very much to him. I don't know how many hit points he has, but it didn't go up.
He's got that druid buff. He's got a high-level druid buff from the big goofball right there.
Yeah. Is that guy his alt or just a friend or what?
I think it's just somebody who's randomly power leveling us right now, buffing us up and keeping us alive. I mean, there's so many nice people in this community, guys. I mean, literally, if you're watching this game and you've never played this game, this is probably the best community of any game that I've ever played on. So just putting that out there. The people here are great, and they're really nice, and they're just friendly.
There are a few goofballs, though, you know.
Yeah, there are a couple of douchebags. Is what I would call them. But we've only met one so far.
Yeah, yeah, they're very far and few in between for sure. But you gotten with your cleric, have you you found like everybody's been very welcoming and helping you learn your class and get back into the swing of things?
Yeah, man. It's like people keep like on my second or first or second day, people ran up to me. Two different Ixar in the Nectarless Forest. One gave me a jewel and one gave me a necklace. The jewel was worth like 80 platinum and the necklace is worth like 160 platinum.
Wow.
So they just gave it to me. I mean, they just dropped it off and it's like, here you go, man. This will help you get you started. So that was one of my very first experiences in my return to Project 1999. And I just want to thank all the people. I want to thank the whole community because you guys have been awesome. And I'm glad to be back. And not only am I happy being able to play my favorite game again, but you guys are making it even better with your actions. So thank all of you.
I'm gonna go ahead and give this bandit a sword because it's his pet. Now the problem with doing that, guys, is if you give a charmed creature a weapon, when he breaks charm, he's going to be using that weapon against you, and that could maybe kill you depending on the creature that you charmed if it was very, very close before you died, before you got that charm off. But to kind of go back on Thune's subject about everybody being really, really nice on this server, I have to completely and totally agree, because when I first started, I went out to the entrance to my Dark Elf city, and sitting right there at the entrance with my my Necro, some guy just randomly walked up to me and gave me like 3 really nice pieces because he had just upgraded his earrings and his necklaces, and so he gave me those. And then it wasn't more than like a few minutes later, somebody else was saying, if you have a newbie robe or tunic, trade that with me and I'll give you a better one in return. And so I did that, except it was no trade, and I let him know. And he was like, oh, okay, that's fine. He gave me the robe. And it's one of the best ones in the game. I got right off the bat. I didn't ask for it. I didn't have to do, anything to really get it other than to show up and be like, hey, I'm here, right? And he just gave it to me. So everybody is so nice. And beyond just getting items, because that doesn't make the game, but beyond getting items, ever since we joined Blackheart's Pirates, the guild itself has made every effort to come over here and join us and group with us. A lot of them, yeah, I mean, they're just amazing. And a lot of them are high-level players that don't have low levels to kind of group with us, but they want to be around, guildmates and help guildmates out and just, enjoy the game together, that they will still come over with their high-level character and, either power level us or just kind of hang out and talk for a little while. And I definitely, appreciate that, because that's one of the things that I wanted to get back and start enjoying again about this game is the community. Holy crap, that guy's loud.
Yeah, some car went by. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. But yeah, it's the community that really makes this game, and it's really starting to come together for me with Thune here and with the Blackheart's Pirates, and just the community overall on this server has been just absolutely amazing. So if you have not come back to Everquest, or you haven't decided whether you want to play on Project 1999, which is an emulated server, my suggestion would be, do it. I mean, just make sure that you do it in moderation. Everquest can really suck a lot of your time away, and if you got obligations in life, you want to make sure you don't let those go. You used to hear back in the day of people getting divorces, people losing themselves in the game and playing for like 20 hours a day, and losing their job and then losing their houses and stuff like that. And it's just, you don't want to get to that point with anything in life, whether it's a video game or anything. Don't lose yourself that much. But if you can manage to play for a few hours a day or a few hours a week and still get that enjoyment just here and there, then that would be my suggestion, because it is highly enjoyable. And at the lower level, the lower stages, you can get away with playing a few hours a day. At a higher level, you may not be able to do it. It sometimes takes a good hour and a half to find a group sometimes even more than that. Back in the old days, I remember sitting at the entrance to Seb looking for a group for like 5, 6, 7 hours, because everything was so camped. You were just waiting to get on the list so that you can get into a group. And there were so many people on the list, and they were all sitting there waiting at the entrance that would never leave, just like you weren't that your turn never really came up until, you know, 5, 6, 7 hours later. And normally I would leave my computer on and just have it up in the background while I was watching a movie or doing something else. And then when it popped up and said, hey, you still want a group, that's when I would jump on. But, you know, when you get older and you have a lot more responsibilities, you can't really do that. And that's why I kind of like doing these videos, because I get to share with you my journey through the game. And some of you who don't have the time because you have other responsibilities can sit here and still get to enjoy the game, still get to kind of see what it's all about, and relive some of those glory days, and follow along with us on our journey and see us die and do these horrible corpse retrievals and things of that sort, you know, at your leisure, which is really, really nice. And I hope you guys are enjoying it. I hope you guys are liking the characters that we're playing. I know I have switched around quite a bit on quite a few of my characters, my Paladin, my Shaman, my Shadow Knight, my Cleric, my Necromancer, just to name a few. I don't really like doing that too much, because I know some of you guys are going to get attached to a certain character, and at some point in the game, I assume anyways, that we will start concentrating on our mains. Like my Cleric is my main, my Shadow Knight is my secondary class that I love as well. Thune's main character is a Cleric as well, so as soon as we can kind of get my Shadow Knight and his Cleric up to the same level, we might go off and play those two quite a bit more than any of the other classes. But at some point, I want to go back and play my Cleric. So if Thune, his warrior, ever gets up to the level that my Cleric is at, I may not retire my Shaman, but switch over to my Cleric just so we can play those two together. Because as I said, I do kind of have that love for my Cleric more than I do for any of the other characters out there. But
I do think we'll make a better group. I mean, I love your Shaman, I love his buffs, but your Cleric will just be able to heal me better, and that is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I
love hanging out with the Shaman. What level is your Cleric again?
He is level 23 right now, almost 24. He's like a bubble away from 24, which actually sucks because I'm over in High Keep, which is just driving me nuts because I really, really want to go and fight in High Keep. It's one of those classic zones that I remember way back in the day that I spent so much time in. It's a good zone for a Cleric because it's inside of a town, which means there's guards you can run to if you get into trouble. You can run right up to the stairs to the banker and sell and change your copper in. There's the mobs drop 2 different items that can be turned in for quest and get a lot more experience there. And you can go all the way from, I believe, level like 19 if you can get in there really early, if you can find a group that will take you at that level, all the way into your 30s if you go all the way down into the basement. And it's just an amazing zone that I spent so much time in. I never really went to Unrest. I never really went to Mistmore because there were so many trains over there, especially Mistmore. Mistmore is one of those zones that I couldn't do. It's just too many trains, too often. And the very first time I ever zoned into that area, I got hit with a train, and I died. So I was like, okay, I'm never coming back here again. Because when I went back to get my body, I got hit with another train. It just was non-stop, just kept coming. And so I got it there as soon as possible, although now that... Yeah, Mistmore.
Okay.
I just got unlucky. I mean, I've gone there since, and I got a couple groups there with my Cleric so far, and it's a pretty cool area. I would love to, explore a little bit more, because it was one of those zones that I just didn't really get to explore that much. Did you ever go to Mistmore?
I went to Mistmore on live a lot, and actually, because my Mercenary was such a hardcore bad me and him held down the whole zone by ourselves. I think I went around level 30 or 40, something like that. Or maybe it was 50, 51, or I can't remember. But it was a lot of fun. I love Mistmore. I love it as a zone, but it is very training. Not on live so much because your Mercenary can kill everything in the zone by itself. But
if Mercenaries,
yeah,
not a big fan of those. I think they, it's not one thing that killed the game, but Mercenaries, in my opinion, killed groups so much more than instances did. Just because it made it possible that you didn't need people as much as you normally did. And it was always great when you had more people to kind of help out, even if you had Mercenaries. But with 3 people, you could have a full group. And that, to me, is not classic Everquest. That's not the game I grew up playing and loving and really wanting to, come back to and play again. But to each their own. I know a lot of people do like the Mercenaries. And those people who only, like I was mentioning earlier, who are only going to play, 2 or 3 hours a week or something like that, mercenaries definitely do come into play for that. You know, because you're allowed to just get on, and the moment you get on, you can go off and do something. You can go to a zone. Like me and Thune make a pretty good team, but because both of us are on, we have a pretty good group going right off the bat, and we can go and do areas that other people cannot because of that. And that's kind of what mercenaries give you, is that ability to do what we do without having that friend. And it sounds kind of sad because it's like you don't have any friends that you can kind of group with and do that with. And yeah, there's more and more people out there that are playing MMOs that never talk, that never get into chat, never engage other people. Thune actually is a lot more engaging in conversation with people than I have been since I've been back, and it's just because I've been doing all the commentary that I haven't really gotten back into that habit. But Thune, you know, you send tells to everybody, right?
Yeah, I like to talk in the group. I like to be polite. A lot of people buff me, and you know, I find it hard to let someone buff me, especially a high level person, and not say thank you. So I like to thank people. I do like to talk to people. So
I think it's one of the best aspects of the game. I mean, I can't wait until we can start getting into groups that actually use Skype or Ventrilo or something like that.
No more typing.
Oh. Well, I mean, typing is, for a tank, very dangerous sometimes, because if you're trying to type and go around corners while you're pulling mobs and stuff like that, so
very
it's not exactly something you can do very efficiently. You will get better at it as you play the game, but I don't know, as a warrior, I don't think you're going to be able to type nearly as much as you'd like to once we start going into really tough zones, because you've already seen it a couple of times where we're in new areas and you're using all your concentration to just keep up with what's going on, and you're like, you were even telling me that you're like having a hard time keeping up with the commentary because you're concentrating so much.
Yeah. I mean, when I'm pulling, especially, it's hard for me to. I mean, I don't even look at. All I look at is the mob, and if I need to assist somebody, if I need to assist a tank, if I'm the secondary tank, then yeah, you know, you have so much to concentrate on when you're killing and when you're pulling. You know, and it is hard for me to keep up with the conversation and stuff like that. So I'm glad that me and AC Gamer can talk through Skype. Otherwise, I would miss a lot of stuff he said if we had to type in one another.
Well, it'd be pretty boring if you weren't in Skype with me, because it would just be me not saying anything in chat, actually. Because that's pretty much what I've been doing lately, which, again, I definitely regret. I can't wait, like I said before, until we start doing either guild raids or guild groups where we can get more into those. And we've actually done a few episodes like that. We've done one with, what was the name of that guy's monk?
Zookalkus?
Yeah, I think it was something like that.
Something like that.
And we did an episode with him. He just happened to be somebody in our guild who decided that he wanted to come over there randomly and power level us up. And I was like, hey, you know, you want to be on camera with us and do a video? And he was like, sure. So, I mean, you don't have to, you know, I don't know what the word would be. You don't have to seek it out. Like, we'll bring you into it if you want to. But because you're, that guy's running away. Kill him. Let's go over there. I'll kill him for you. 17%.
There we go.
Ooh, there's a bear down there. You could always pull that if we got the...
What level is he? Oh, he's green. He's green.
Is he? Yeah. There was a couple evens over here earlier. I do like the landscape, guys. Look at this. We got the forest out to one side, the mountains up on the other side. And I don't believe you can go over those mountains, right? That's the zone wall?
Yeah, over there to our right is definitely... that's the zone wall right there where I'm facing.
Where you're facing. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, back here, yeah. I love this zone, by the way. I love the way it looks. I love the openness of it. I just like this zone. I like the Karanas.
And you got a little farmhouse out there or something? And we also have a bandit kind of walking down the mountain right there.
Yeah, he's going to set up in a place down below the hill. And I'm going to come and get him later and kill him in the face.
There's a little, nice little kind of desert region out there. So have you hunted in this zone back in the day? Like, was this one of the ones that you actually frequently came to as a lower level?
Now, I can't say about West Karana, but the Karanas, I think South Karana I hunted in a lot with my druid. I used to kite the Teshmal Knolls and the Aviax quite a bit.
Now, what zone was it that had the Aviac town, the one that went up into the tree?
I believe that was South Karana. Now, I could be mistaken. Don't quote me on that.
Because I remember going to that one, and I remember, again, because it was, you know, the game had just come out and there were so many people on, that like, when you went up a certain point, it would actually level off and there'd be a little pad there and there'd be, like, you know, 3 or 4 mobs that would spawn there. Then you go up a little further up the ramp, and there'd be another little pad. Every one of those pads used to be camped. And what you would find is you would start on the very bottom pad, getting in on the list there. And then you would get on the list for the next pad, and the next pad, and the next pad. And you would slowly, actually go from one pad to the next, getting more and more experience. Because the very, very top place had, I think, like, what was it, like 7 or 8 mobs that spawned up there? It was a lot more than any of the other ones. And so you make a lot of experience. And I do believe they would drop pearls every so often. I remember they were dropping something that was kind of valuable. And I hunted there for a very long time with my Shadow Knight. It's one of the few zones that I could actually get into a group with on my Shadow Knight because it was kind of out of the way. And so even though there was a lot of people there, there wasn't a lot of the classes that you normally find. Like the clerics tended to kind of favor the zones where they could use their undead spells. And when you don't have a cleric and you don't have some of these other ones, these other classes that kind of tend to favor other zones, people are willing to take classes that they may not otherwise accept in some of their groups. And Shadow Knights were kind of that way when it first came out. They had a lot of things that were broken about them, a lot of things that were kind of unfair. They weren't quite as good as they could have been. And Sony was very, very slow at fixing any of that stuff. They didn't really see a point to it. They didn't really like Shadow Knights, to be honest. I don't think they knew what to do with them. I think they had an idea of what Shadow Knights could have been, but they kind of stopped short and they concentrated more on the other classes to see where they could go and try to refine them into better, because they were a lot more common. People used, clerics a lot more than Shadow Knights. They used shamans a lot more than Shadow Knights. So they tried to put their resources where they thought it would do the best. And it was a good 3 years before they started, doing anything for Shadow Knights. And when they finally did, I remember the very first patch that they actually added stuff for Shadow Knights. All the Shadow Knights were incredibly upset because they made them even worse. It was horrible. You take the worst class in the game other than Rangers that were just having all these negative side effects to them. And I'm not saying they're a bad class. They were just not made the right way when they first came out. And I think a lot of the stuff that was classic EQ has kind of been fixed because it wasn't that it was meant to be that way. It was broken, and they just never got around to fixing it. And so when they created this server, Project 1999, I think they just went ahead and fixed this stuff, but kept it classic, Because there's no reason. I mean, it would just suck to play a Shadow Knight that was broken and know that it was never going to be fixed because you're never going to get to that patch. So I think they just fixed it and then said, okay, we're going to leave it like that, classic style. Because when they finally did get around to fixing it, the Shadow Knights became normal. They weren't better than the other classes. They weren't more uber than the other classes. They just became an average class, finally, because now we're not penalized for everything we do. One of the main things that I had to complain about for my Shadow Knight was by the time we got a pet spell, it was green. Every single time you get a new pet, it was green. Completely and totally worthless. Not only did it not survive in a fight, but it would aggro everything and its grandmother because it was such a low level. You'd be going through mobs that would not touch you because you're a high enough level, but your pet is not. And so now it aggroes your pet, and even if you do not attack the mob after your pet engages it, it doesn't matter. Now you have aggro as well. So now you have all these greens attacking you. So your pet just became a nuisance that was not worth it. The paving issues were all messed up in a lot of zones. Your pet would go off in some weird fashion and get killed, and then you would have a train that you didn't even know was coming and just get slammed by 15, 20 mobs because of some stupid green pet that wasn't really doing anything for you anyways. And so it just became one of these spells that for a very, very long time you look forward to getting that ended up being completely worthless. And I from what I've heard, they've kind of fixed a lot of those issues. They fixed a lot of the paving issues. And now that people are more familiar with how pets work, if you're going to use that Shadow Knight pet, you just have to be very, very cautious about where you cast it, and then you have to get rid of it right away when you're ready to move to another spot. But because Shadow Knights are poolers in general for the most part, you're really never going to have that ability. You're going to cast it for one fight while you're there fighting, and then get rid of it while you leave the room. And it's not going to work. And you could tell that pet to stay in the room, but the moment you get hit, it's going to run off to your rescue. And again, now you have to wait for the pet to die, or you got to sit there and tell the pet to back off, and come back to me. And again, it's worthless in my opinion. So I don't know if you guys have a different opinion. I would love to hear your ideas. I think we're going to go ahead and end the episode here, though. If you do enjoy these episodes, guys, please hit that like button, subscribe. Definitely helps grow the channel. We greatly appreciate that. Make sure to leave comments down below. I always love hearing back from you guys on every one of my videos that I make. Although my Terratech videos seem to be getting a lot of love recently. So as I said before, those are going to be a daily episode or a daily series here pretty soon. So if you're looking forward to that, do not fret. That is coming very, very soon to the channel. Again, guys, thanks for watching, and we will catch you next time.
Subscribe.